Mom sneaks into summer camp at night to kidnap her whiny kid. I used to work at a summer camp in Northern Ontario from the time I was 16 to the time I was 25, so I have many stories about parents like this. Me is my evil twin, EM is entitled mom, and WK is whiny kid. So this happened in my first year, and I was pretty new to counseling. I had a kid who was always homesick and would cry 4 or 5 times a day. I talked to his dad about it, and he said that the kid's mom babied him, and that dad was trying to toughen him up a bit. He told me that unless anything was serious, to just ignore it. So for the first 4 days, I tried to help the kid, but he obviously didn't want to participate, and would cry whenever someone tried to talk to him. I let him sit it out, and then he would participate a little bit. When we were approaching the first weekend, I realized that my cell was missing. I thought maybe I'd misplaced it and went to bed. I woke up to banging on the door. The kids were freaking out. I walked over and opened it to see a 40-year-old Karen with wild eyes. EM, where is he? Me, who? EM, where is my son? Me, miss, we have a very strict policy. You can't be here, right? At this point, she tried to push past me. I grabbed onto either side of the door. WK, Mommy! He's the one who's bullying me! I turned my head just enough to see the little bastard with my phone. EM, let me through, you piece of shit! At this point, she's pushing with the force of 1,000 EMs. I let go of the door and two-handed shove her. She toppled over and slammed into a cabin door, locking it. I grabbed my phone from the little brat and called my camp director. She told me that she would call the father and the police. We made it very clear to the parents that it's trespassing to come to the camp at night. WK is crying and screaming for his mom. EM is slamming against the door using her "can I speak to the manager" strength. She's screaming about me being a pedophile and how I'm raping her child. I hear her go to the other cabins trying to get in, but thankfully all the staff had been informed to lock the doors. Finally, I hear cars pull up, but then I hear more slamming. She broke through the door with a baseball bat. I felt like I was in The Shining. All of the kids are screaming while this little brat is smiling and yelling for his mom. I pushed all of the kids into the bathroom and told them to lock the door behind them. I grabbed a broom, waiting to do battle with this evil being, but just as she was getting the door open, 2 police officers tackled her to the ground outside. Her face was purple and she looked a lot like Grimace. EM, my baby! No, let me see him! The cops dragged her away. I was later informed that the father and mother had divorced. They had shared custody, but the mother was mentally imbalanced. She was later admitted to the mental hospital. The kid isn't much of a brat anymore, and his dad has full custody. I feel really bad for this kid for multiple reasons. It sounds like he may have a touch of separation anxiety, which I can sympathize with because I had that when I was a kid. I remember this one time, I was taking Taekwondo lessons. It was the first lesson, and my mom went to the pizza place next door to buy pizza for afterwards. And I started crying because she wasn't near me and I was scared. So I get it, but this mother isn't doing her child any favors by babying him. He needs to learn that it's okay to not be around his parents sometimes. But that being said, it sounds like his mother has mental issues, and I really hope she's doing okay now that it seems like she's getting treatment. EM buys herself presents for my birthday. Sadly, in this story, the EM is my mother. This is my first post on this site. This was years ago, but I still remember it because I still cannot understand her logic behind it. Anyways, my birthday party rolls around and it was time to open presents. Me, being my antisocial self, just wanted to get this party over with. I opened presents from my favorite auntie. My mom is Filipino, so all her friends are called auntie or uncle. She had gotten me some books on witchcraft history and on the occult, because she knew I was really into learning about that kind of stuff back then. Got the normal presents, I suppose, from my uncles and aunties, $20 here and there. Once I was done with what was on the table, I said thank you to every single person. I was trying to escape back to the garage with my dad. I was stopped by my mother as I went to leave, saying I didn't open the presents from her yet. I sigh, thinking she bought me another really girly thing to wear. She hated the way I dressed, because I normally wore a lot of black. Still do, actually. I sit down on the couch and she hands me 3 boxes. 1 small box and 2 medium boxes. I unwrapped the small one first, and lo and behold, she got me a bottle of her favorite perfume. I look at her like, what the F? Mom, well, if you don't like it, then I'll just keep it. Rolls her eyes, then complained to her friend in Tagalog about how hard it is to please me. I unwrap the second present. It's new Nikes that are too big for me, but oh wait, what's this? Well, wouldn't you know, they're my mother's size. I just sigh and hand them over to her without a word. She then starts loudly saying, "I've been meaning to get new gym shoes," to the whole room. My best friend looks at me and just rolls her eyes, because she knows how my mother is. I open the last present, and this one is actually really nice. It was a brand new Discman. Yes, I'm old. It was really nice. It had a strap for your hand to slide into so you could walk around with it comfortably. I said, "Cool, thanks, Mom," and she looked annoyed. Pretty sure she bought this hoping I wouldn't want it like the rest. Joke's on you, woman, because I used that thing the rest of freshman year and all of sophomore year on the bus. I start to walk away with my Discman in hand when she gets up and tells me she's using it tomorrow at the gym, so to put it in her and my dad's room. Me: "Sorry, Mother, but I already gave you back your things. This one is mine. Thank you for buying yourself presents and pretending they were for me." I walk to the garage with my friend, laughing quietly. I tell my dad all about my mother's attempt at presents, and he just sighs and hands me a beer. I was 16, so he wasn't handing a 9-year-old a beer, so don't freak out. My mother then comes outside yelling at me about how could I embarrass her like that in front of her friends. She just yells, stomps her foot, then looks to my dad for help. Awesome, Dad. You bought yourself presents for her 16th birthday. Did you think she would be happy about it? She has a right to be upset. You really don't have a leg to stand on here. She just huffed and then stomped back into the house. I spent the rest of the party with my dad and my friend in the garage. This kind of reminds me of the time I bought my mom a Barbie for her birthday. I was like 6, I think, and I didn't really understand the reasoning behind gift giving. I just thought, hey, I like this thing and so she'll probably like it too, and maybe we can play with it together. Which is perfectly fine logic for a kid, but incredibly selfish to do as an adult. EP almost kills me, starts a fight, then loses her kid. This story takes place about a year or two ago, but still angers me to think about. Our cast. EP is entitled parent, PC is poor child, AM is amazing manager. I have a severe peanut allergy. So bad that even a quarter of a peanut could kill me easily. I normally have an EpiPen on me, but I hadn't been able to buy a new one after I lost the last one. Long story. I shop at a local supermarket called Asda. It's basically an English Walmart. In our Asda, there's a salad bar that worked as you expected, but without any staff overseeing it. I was filling my box when EM and her son walked up. This is where our story begins. "Excuse me, can I get to the pasta?" a voice beside me asks. I say sure and step back, and she partly fills her box before stepping aside. I step back to the pasta and take some tikka, which I just realized, and as I take it out, I see a peanut sitting in the pasta. On closer inspection, there was also peanuts in between the trays, hidden but visible. I then heard it, scattering noises. I look over and see the woman spilling her peanuts over the salad as she reached over to get some food. She was actively contaminating the food. If I hadn't seen it, I could have easily died. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you can't just spill your peanuts into the salad bar." She glared at me. "I'm not. It's spilling by accident, not my fault." I stared gobsmacked. "I'm sorry, but accident or not, you need to take responsibility for what you're doing. I could have easily died from the peanuts in this pasta." She scoffed. "Stop being a pussy just because you don't like nuts." "I'm highly allergic to nuts, ma'am." She scoffed. "Bullshit," before throwing her half-empty bag of peanuts at me. I should mention this allergy is very quick and will affect me on any type of contact, so I soon began becoming red around the areas she hit. So bear in mind over the next few quotes, my face is swelling. "What the fuck, you bitch?" I blurted out as my face began to burn. She was pissed and began screaming about me being a brat and disrespectful to my elders, blah blah blah. I began to choke and fell to the ground as I saw AM run around the corner before injecting me with the EpiPen. After a few minutes I was okay, and the woman was being held until the police arrived. She was arrested for assault. She also lost custody of her child. I know because I met her husband in the store a few weeks later with PC, and after apologizing for his ex-wife's behavior, he told me what happened. How can you continue to be annoyed or angry with someone when they're visibly going into anaphylactic shock? I feel like at that point, you need to stop yelling about what a little brat they're being and start yelling for someone to call an ambulance. I don't care how upset you are, someone's life is always more important than your little argument.